Recording in progress.
For the Bank of Baroda Q2 results for quarter ended 30th September. Without further ado, I request MD and CEO Shri Sanjeev Chadha to give the opening remarks. After the initial remarks, we can begin with the Q&A. Over to you, sir.
So very good evening to all our friends. Thank you very much for joining us, and it's good to again see all of you in times which are improving, if not absolutely back to normal. So let me just begin by introducing my colleagues on the call who will help me again in addressing whatever questions you might have. So we have on the left of the screen, Mr. Ajay Khurana, our Executive Director, who is in charge of IT, digital banking, including Bob World, and also stressed assets. On the, I think I don't see Mr. Kichi on the screen, but you might be able to see him. So our Executive Director in charge of retail banking, Mr. Vikramaditya Singh Kichi. On the right extreme of this screen, we have Mr. Devdutt Chand, Executive Director, who you might have met the last time as in charge of the finance function. He's now in charge of corporate banking, treasury, and international banking. And we have a new colleague who's an old BOB hand, Mr. Joydeep Datta Roy, Executive Director, who has taken over as the Executive Director in charge of all platform functions, including finance, risk, compliance, audit. So thank you very much. And we, of course, have your old friend Ian D'Souza, CFO, is also on the call. So thank you again for joining us. I'll just take 2 or 3 minutes in terms of some broad numbers which are there. You have the copy of the presentation, so I'm sure you would have gone through that. But if you look at the current quarter, I believe that we have largely delivered on the guidance that we had given when we met last. We have been guiding that although the second wave has been damaging, particularly in creating stress on the MSME and the retail book, but the continued improvement in the credit cycle as far as corporate is concerned will outweigh that. And therefore, on a net-net basis, credit costs will continue to trend downwards, and that will have a salutary impact on profitability. I think we have seen that play out during this quarter. We had also guided that we would be expecting our slippages to be around 2% and our credit cost to be between 1.5 to 2%. And if we are fortunate to trend towards the lower part of that range. I think that is something which we see in the numbers here. We see that the cost to income ratio actually has come down. We have given half one numbers because that actually gives a better perspective, because there's a lot of, last year in particular, there was a lot of movement that happened between quarters, which distorted figures. So you had a large loss in one quarter and a large profit in one quarter. So we put H1 numbers here. You, of course, have the quarterly numbers with you. So we have seen the cost to income ratio come down. The operating profit improved substantially. And the profit before tax has improved even more impressively from about 1,200 crores to 4,500 crores. And since we had migrated to a lower tax regime in the last quarter of the last year, that is when we took a one-time hit on that account, the net profit has gone up even more in proportion. So it has nearly quadrupled from about 800 crores to nearly 3,300 crores. So all in all, in terms of most of the profitability ratios, I think we are reasonably well placed. And that is because of, again, the trends that we have talked of in the opening part of the conversation. Now, going ahead, the large piece in terms of, again, making sure we protect our margins has been how we have handled our deposit franchise. We have been very clear that we would want to grow our deposit base in line with our advances, because in a liquidity surplus situation, otherwise you might be borrowing at 5% and lending at 3%, which gives nobody any joy. So we have seen almost our entire growth come from CASA. So you see the current deposits have grown 15%, savings by more than 12%, and bulk deposit, which was the expensive part of the deposit book, has come down by 23%. So all in all, we believe that we have been fairly disciplined deposit growth, and that has been a key part in terms of making sure that we maintain margins. On the credit side also, we have had a similar view that we would not want to chase growth in a liquidity surplus situation, which can depress margins to a point where the risk-adjusted return becomes negative, which is why our corporate growth has been muted, although this quarter has seen a fair bit of recovery. And last quarter was about a degrowth of 10%. Now we actually are on a YOY flat basis. But within the loan portfolio, our retail continues to grow reasonably well at 10%, Within that, we acknowledge that home loan is muted and needs to pick up. This is largely because of the fact that there's a lot of refinance that happens in a falling interest rate regime. I think that should level off now, but that's responsible for the fact that net growth is low. But in other parts of the portfolio, like auto loans, personal loans, education loans, we have grown significantly ahead of the market. So we are fairly comfortable in terms of the kind of advances growth we have seen. Going ahead, I think slippages is one piece which is important. We had guided last time that we believe that the worst is over, that in terms of MSME and retail also, we should expect these to trend downwards. And that is apparent in this quarter, where in MSME, the fresh slippages have come down very significantly, as they have in agriculture and also in retail. In international, you might recall from our previous conversations last year in particular, we had some one-offs which were there. And I think the current quarter slippage of just about 85 crores bears out the fact that overall, the quality of the international book is fairly good. So I think that is pretty much, I think, in terms of the key numbers, which we thought we would just sharply focus on. But we can now move on to questions. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for the brief presentation. Now we will move on to the Q&A session. All of you are quite familiar with the Zoom platform. In case anybody wants to ask question, please raise your hand, and even a Q&A option is available for the same, where you can type your question and we can read out to the management. We are now opening the floor to you. Please limit your questions to 2 initially. If you want to ask more questions, we can come back to you at a later stage. The floor is open.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Maruk, please go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, hello, sir. Good evening. Sir, what is the size of the restructured book now? So both restructuring 1, restructuring 2, and the MSME restructuring that you would have done in the earlier schemes. So what is the total size of the restructured book?
So thank you, Maruf. Good to hear from you and good to see that you have beaten Mr. Ajmera on the first question. I wonder whether he's there or not. But I'll request Mr. Khurana to answer the question, please.
Yeah, total in standard assets, our restructure book is 20,500 crores, which includes framework 1, framework 2, as well as old MSME restructuring.
Sorry, how much, sir?
20,500 crores.
Got it, sir. So, and there has been a sharp decline in yield on domestic loans, though the home loan piece has not grown that much. So, would there have been a reversal on the NBFC account that slipped? What would explain the fall in yield during the quarter?
So I think, Maruf, you're right in your assessment. To some extent, that is the reason. So there was, we were provisioning for the interest we were booking on that, on the NBFC loan, because there was a stay in terms of its classification. Now that figure has moved up from the provisioning line into the interest line. So that has had some impact. Otherwise, in terms of NIMs, between last quarter and this quarter, we'd largely be steady.
Okay, so this would what would be the rough reversal of interest this quarter?
Ian, if you want to take that, please.
Yeah, so the rough reversal would, if you look at it on an incremental basis, it's a normal BAU actually interest reversal. But on an incremental basis, I would say there would have been an incremental reversal of around 300 crores.
That is on the quarter, over the last quarter?
Yeah, a sequential quarter-wise and incremental 300 crores.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot.
The next question is from Amit Premchand. Please go ahead and ask your question. We will move on to next. Mr. Mahesh AB, please ask your question.
Hi, just a couple of questions from my side. One is just a clarification to Mark's question. You indicated that these restructured loans was 20,000 crores this quarter. Sequentially, what was it in the previous quarter? Because I think I have a number of 25,000.
So I think there are various ways of classifying, right? One is standard restructured, and then there's restructured. So the 20,500 crore figure is the standard restructured.
Okay, and do you have a corresponding number for the previous quarter as well?
We can, I think, give that to you. My own sense is it may not have changed very much, but if Kuranaji has it readily available, you can just apply that.
From previous quarter, there's a little movement. Only 1,400 crores has been added.
1,400. Okay, perfect. So if I go to slide number 20, and if you just kind of look at the outstanding stock of your net and gross NPL book today, what is kind of visibility you have in terms of the resolutions here from here onwards? The stock of loans is reasonably high here on the NPL line. Just if you could give us some clarity on how are you approaching this book?
Kuranaji, would you want to take that?
Our total 59,504 crores gross NPA. 18,769 is that is corporate.
Yeah.
So where most of the accounts we are moving towards NCLT and going for that process. The process is going on, and wherever it is not initiated recently added, that also will be we are going to start. And other regarding this MSME and retail. I would like to tell you that our resolution and retail is those accounts which are added in March and June. There has been a good upgradation and recovery in those accounts, and we have been going for campaigns also, and there's a good movement there. So this is and for agriculture also we are running a campaign that for these accounts. This is how we are moving, and for
just to step in here, just wanted to understand on the corporate side specifically, is there some visibility of how are you seeing for the second half of this year, given that there has been some resolutions on the ground, or are these completely sticky ones that you will have to write it off? What's your assessment from here onwards?
These are not. These accounts are we are hopeful of getting good recovery in NCLT. That is one. Second is some OTS has also already been sanctioned. We are expecting recovery from that also. So almost in this quarter itself, we are expecting close to we are expecting between 1,000-1,500 crores from this accounts only.
Okay, perfect. And one last question on that NBFC exposure which slipped. Can we just a clarification on what is the size of that exposure?
So that would be about 2,000 crores, I think, roughly. And just to again supplement what Mr. Khurana said, that the NPA book also includes a certain proportion where accounts have been restructured, and there is a fairly positive prognosis on some of them, particularly if you look at the international book, where we have got about 13,000 crores of NPAs. I think about 20-30% is something which actually would be coming up for upgradation next year, should it perform as per, again, the restructuring. So I think there's an upside which is there, A, by way of the resolution of NCLT cases, which is now gathering steam. B, in terms of the restructured account, which have been classified as NPAs, but will get reclassified, should they perform as per restructuring going forward. And third, of course, what we have seen is that at least there's been a fair bit of pullback which happened in accounts which had slipped simply because of COVID and the stress that was created on individuals on that account. So I think these three factors in aggregation give us, you might say, some visibility in terms of the improvement in the NPA book.
Perfect. Thanks.
The next question is from Gaurav Agarwal. Please ask your question.
Hi, sir. Sir, I didn't get the restructuring, the numbers which you discussed. Can you please share that again? If I remember correctly, last quarter total restructuring, SME framework 1, framework 2 put together, all of them was around 25,000 crore. So whether the Q1 number was correct, first of all, and secondly, if it is not correct, if you can give the Q1 number as well as the Q2 number.
So I think we'll just again repeat what we said, and then again, if there's any clarification, we'll be happy to give that. So we have just said that our standard restructured book currently is 20,500 crores, which is about 1,500 more as compared to what it was in the last quarter, right?
Okay.
And this includes SMA 1 and SMA 2 also. So if you have to add some figures, you'll have, and you're looking at SMAs also, then you'll have to take that out, right? So if
how
you
much
take
would that be,
SMA,
sir?
SMA 1, 2 is about 4,000 crores. We'll give you the exact figures. So it is about 16,000 crores sans SMA 1 and 2, 20,000 as the aggregate standard restructured book.
Got it. Okay. And sir, SMA 1 and 2, you have disclosed above 5 crore, and if you can give some idea or some broad color how the situation is for your book, which is below 5 crore in size. Does it mimic the number that you have given for 1.87% something, or is it higher? Is it lower? Because other banks who have given SMA 1 and 2 below 5 crore, there the situation has become quite bad.
Okay, so I think we try to again make sure that we give the standard figures so that again the comparisons are possible. What you see in the acrylic outstanding SMA 1-2s is that there is a downward trend which is there vis-a-vis the previous quarter, right? Which where the second wave actually had hit badly. So I think what we can say is that we see improvement even on the overall SMA book also.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
The next question is from Gaurav Kochar. He has written the question in chat. I'm reading out to you, sir. What does the corporate slippages comprise of? How much was the exposure to Shrey Group? Has it been 100% provided for? Any other large corporate accounts that slipped?
So as a general proposition, we don't talk specific names, but let us say that the account which was under stay in terms of asset classification, that we had outstanding about 2,000 crores, which has now become part of the slippages for the current quarter. And in terms of providing for it, we have provided it to the extent of 50% currently. Ian, would that be the correct position?
Yes, sir, it would.
The provisions include 600 crores on some accounts. Which one is this? What kind of recoveries do you expect or anticipating from the second half of FY22 and FY23? If you can broadly call out.
Ranjit?
So are the 600 crores, are you talking about in the standard assets or in NPA?
Standard assets, sir.
Yeah. No, that is mainly, these are the accounts, mainly because of our resolution, this restructuring, these accounts, this additional provision has been given in this our standard assets. And as far as recovery is concerned in NPAs, there is we don't expect any big account here, but our small book as well as in NCLT, we are expecting a good amount of recovery in those accounts.
The next question is from Suraj Das. Please ask your question. Suraj Das, I request you to unmute yourself and please ask the question.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you so much for the opportunity, sir. So I just had a question on the restructured book again. So if you could...
Suraj, we have lost you. If you could just repeat again in case.
Yeah, I guess I was muted by the host. But anyway, I was asking, sir, on the breakup of the restructured book. So you said that the all-inclusive total standard restructured book is something around 20,500 crore. If you could give the breakup of segment-wise, like how much is agri, how much retail, corporate, and SME. That is my first question.
Yeah, sure. So I think Kuranji can give you the figure. So I think
you are on mute.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yes.
I can
Yeah,
give
I'm
that.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kunalji, you got the figure?
Yes, I have got the figure, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sorry. This 20,500 crores, which is total restructure book under standard assets, majority 7,400 is large corporate, 6,700 is MSME, 5,400 is in retail, and all others, including international, around 900 crores.
Okay, sir. Okay, understood. And sir, on the second question is, sir, on the SRE exposure, sir, that you said something around 2,400 crore. How much provision you are currently having on that NBFC account?
We said we had a 50% provision. It's around 1,900 crores. 1,900 to 2,000. We have around 50%.
Okay, sir. Okay. And sir, on the recovery from TWO accounts, we have seen a large number here in this quarter. So does this include the D1 recovery, or the D1 recovery has been included in the upgrades number in movement in GNPA?
No, that includes the Diwan recovery.
Okay, so that is basically Diwan recovery. And sir, if I may know the amount as well here.
Total Diwan recovery has been 877 crores.
Okay, sir. And sir, one last question on the recovery pipeline. So you said that you have certain bit of expectation on the NCLT accounts, as well as there are granular accounts as well, where you were expecting a fair bit of recovery going ahead. So broadly, sir, in the second half of this fiscal, how much recovery you would expect? Because in the first half, the recovery has been recovery plus upgrade has been pretty good to the tune of 9 to 10,000 crore. So are you expecting similar amount, or it will be much higher or something like that? If you can give a fair bit of guidance there.
No, in the first quarter, two major things have happened. That is, one is of course Diwan, and other is that restructure upgradation. So those two things are not there in this next half year, but still we are expecting around 7 to 8,000 crores recovery during this half year.
The next question is from Saurabh Kumar. Please ask your question. Mr. Saurabh Kumar, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Sorry for that. So, sir, first is on this Air India exposure. From what we understood, you had a provision of 2,500 crores. Will that get reversed next quarter if the transaction goes through?
So I think we'll have to wait for the exact structure of the transaction to actually see what would be the timetable in terms of any provisioning reversals. So I think in terms of having a definitive answer in terms of timelines, I think this possibly is premature. Maybe when we meet next quarter, we'll have a clearer view on that. But it is a fact that the resolution of Air India is something which is going to be of enormous comfort and benefit to the bank.
Okay. And this will not be part of any restructuring or anything, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Understood, sir. The second is, sir, on this family pension, on your notes to accounts, note 11, we have we are effectively going to take approximately 300 crore hit every year. Is there a view like SBI to just kind of front end it because your CET1 is already very good, or you will still continue with this policy of, having this 300 crore odd hit every year for next 5 years?
So I think you always try to choose where do we want to create extra provisioning buffers. So if there is an opportunity at some point in time, we might want to look at it. But as of now, we are going with the RBI dispensation, which allows us to spread it over a 5-year period.
Okay, understood, sir. And the last one, sir, is on again this note 16. So it says that accounts where resolution framework has been, implemented, So the balance is 18,000 crores, of which 10,000 crores is NPA. So this 8,000 crores, which is there extra, will that have an overlap with restructured or no?
So I'll hand it to again Kunalji and Ian. I think
No, that is a part of total 20,500 crores. All restructure, whatever
Okay.
have mentioned in our note on accounts, that is a part of
It
this
will be there.
20,000.
Okay. Understood. Thank you, and all the best.
The next question is from Ashok Ajmera. Please go ahead and ask your question, sir.
Good evening, sir. Congratulations for yet another quarter of very good performance, both in the net profit front and also managing the asset quality. Sir, my main question is on the road ahead, sir. So, what are your views, sir, for the credit growth in the coming quarters and the year about the bank? And are you now, since you are comfortable on capital adequacy and other things, I mean, will you be looking at some of those sectors where you are going slow in the past, like the real estate, construction, the NBFC? So where do you see the growth, credit growth coming in from? And what is the pipeline, sir?
So thank you very much, Ajmera ji. We missed you at the beginning of the call. That's where we normally again meet you. But thank you very much for joining us. So I think when it comes to credit growth, I think we have tried to focus on the areas where we believe we could have protected our margins. And therefore, we find that retail credit growth has been 10% and corporate is largely flat. But corporate is a very large part of our book, more than 50%. And therefore, if the overall book has to grow, corporate must contribute. And that's something that we are hoping that starts happening now that there is some kind of recovery in place. Also, again, working capital limits, which were at a low level of utilization, we expect that to start improving. We also have seen a fair bit in terms of proposals for brownfield expansions, large players who are fairly dominant in their segment, increasing capacity. So those are proposals which we already have, and we are actually in the process of approving, or we have already approved. So these also should be getting disbursed. So we are fairly sanguine that over the next few quarters, the corporate growth should be significantly better as compared to what it was, because the climate has improved substantially. But I'll just hand it over to Mr. Devdutt Chand, who now handles the portfolio, to give you a ground level feel in terms of how he sees things.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Yeah. See, if you look at the corporate growth on a YOY, it's flat 0.31%, but sequentially the growth is almost like 6%. So we built up the momentum now in terms of capitalizing on the corporate loan book growth, and as MD sir rightly said, this is start of the busy season also. And a lot of on-avail limits are there, a lot of pipeline cases are there. So we're quite hopeful of at least growing at the industrial average line, and that's a quite can be quite a good possibility as far as the loan growth is concerned.
Sir, my extended question on this was, covering the industries like NBFCs, even A-rated and this thing, which is still not being looked positively, and some of the construction loan, and also the co-lending kind of things, by which you can penetrate to the lower segment of the society, where the average size is 2 lakh, 2.5 lakh rupees through this NBFCs and co-lending. So on that, any firm view on that, or any policy decisions on that have you taken, so that we can understand the kind of the growth which is coming in?
So I think one of the challenges that we had was that there was a point in time when our exposure to the NBFC sector was disproportionate as compared to other players in the market. So it was as much as 14-15% as compared to 8% average for the market. I believe the correction that was necessary has already happened. And therefore, for us, you are absolutely right. It is the right time to again look at NBFC growth and have good quality growth. And among the instruments that are available to us, of course, is to lend directly, and also to lend again through co-lending, pool purchases, once we actually have some you might say clarifications in terms of the regulatory dispensation. But we are very positively inclined towards again looking at the NBFC portfolio and see how it can again return to growth mode.
Good, sir. The last question, sir, is on the, our treasury has been performing very well. There are good amount of trading gains from the sale of investments also. Like almost about 2,200 crore in this last two quarters of the sale profit on the sale of investments, and even treasury income recovery from the return of accounts. So what is this pattern is going to continue according to you for the remaining 2 quarters of this year, the same trend, or do you see some kind of decline in that, sir?
So I think the interest rates have started hardening, and therefore I don't think there's any possibility that the kind of gains that we saw over the last 2 or 3 or 4 quarters, that we could see them extending indefinitely in the future. They will start trending downwards going ahead, but this is something which is part of the normal business cycle, that when the economic climate improves, interest rates tend to rise, and along with interest rates rising, your NII will start improving on your loan book, but the treasury gains will get muted. So we would expect that pattern to manifest itself.
Okay, thanks a lot, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
The next question is from Manish Agarwal. What is the total standard restructured provision outstanding? Is there any contingent provision and floating provision in the book? If it can be quantified. Thank you.
Ian, would you want to take that question, please?
I said I'll just come back with the data, Manish. If you can reach out to me, I'll give you that data separately. I don't have it handy.
So I'll just again broadly address the question for Manish. So actually, we are not carrying any specific COVID provisions on a book. But again, we have also pointed out in the past, and you might say that's consistent with the fact that credit costs are coming down, right? You would normally provide when you expect credit costs to go up. We expect them to come down. The other part is that the bank, again, traditionally does provide at slightly higher levels as compared to the regulatory requirement. For instance, we provide at 20% for our substandard assets as compared to 15%, which the RBI requires. And similarly, also, there are certain other categories, including say unsecured loans, where we make higher provisions. So to that extent, we hold provisions which are more than the regulatory requirement.
The next question is from Rakesh Kumar. Please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yeah, hi, good evening, sir. Can you hear me?
Clearly.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity, sir. So the first question is pertaining to the slide number 20, industry-wise NPA in telecom sector, which has now become kind of a negligible number. So was this completely provided and written off in this quarter? What is the status on this, sir?
So yes, I think that would probably be the position, but I'll just request Khurana ji to take the question.
Yes, you're right. That fully provided, and we have written off.
So which loan account is that, sir?
So let's refrain from names, but I think there are no prizes for guessing them, right?
Okay. And so out of the total write-off of around 5,300 crore, is there any other lumpy account apart from this number?
So I think there would be about another account, which also would be a significant figure. But again, Rana ji, Ian, if you might want to give any color on that, please.
There was a set of 3 accounts belonging to the same group, which collectively, so there was a finance company in that group, a telecom company in the group. All of them together was around the 3,500 kind of out of the 5,200. So a large portion of the 5,200 was just in these 3 accounts.
Okay. And pertaining to the notes of accounts number 11 in the standalone entity, there is a 600 crore of additional provision that we have made in this quarter. So can you just clarify? It is also pertaining to the previous question asked by Manish. So what is the total stressed standard asset provisions that we have apart from this 600 crore?
So let me attempt to take the first question first. The second question we'll reply separately. This 600 crores is for 3 accounts that could potentially get downgraded in the next quarter or next quarter and a half. So there are specific accounts where there are signs of excipient stress, and we chose to take a provision in these 3 accounts in this quarter. There is your more overarching question. I will get back to you. You can reach out to me separately and we can discuss that separately.
Ian, I can pitch in there. In fact, 20,500 is a standard restructured book. And in the RF1 and RF2, it was 10% provision. That makes it around 2,000 crores there. And in MSME, the old MSME restructuring, it was 5% provisioning, and that comes to around 300 crore odd amount. So I think it's around 2,500 ballpark range.
The next question is from Manish Shukla. Have you reduced lending rates in any of the segments in Q2? The entire QOQ decline in NIM is due to interest reversal of NPA, or is there something else dragging the NIM? Thank you.
So I think we have been having specific schemes where interest rates have been reduced as part of campaigns. I think if home loans in particular, we have always had very competitive rates. We offer very competitive rates even today. Similarly, in MSME, we are trying to reach out to good quality borrowers, and that's also where we actually have, for good quality accounts, good rated accounts, we have reduced rates. To answer your question about the net interest margins, if we were to look at the net of one-offs, right, including interest reversals on an account where there was a stay, our net interest margins would be broadly unchanged between last quarter and this quarter. But I think you can again reach out to Ian for the detailed calculation. But that is what the position is, that there is no dilution of net interest margins if we were to take one-offs out of the picture for both the last quarter as well as this quarter. In terms of interest rates, I'd again request Kichi Saab if there's anything else he might want to add to what I said.
No, I think that's enough. I think you articulated well. Thank you.
The next question is from Prabal Gandhi. Please clarify note 13 pertaining to 2 accounts amounting to 1,200 crores where court has stay order. And the second question is, also we reported strong growth in corporate QOQ. What drove this? Thank you.
Kuranji, would that note on account be something that you might want to comment on?
Yes, yes, sir. These are the 2 accounts where actually there is no repayment and their accounts are NPA. But because of court order, we are unable to make them NPA. But we have provided them full. It's almost 100% we have provided. So this is these are the 2 accounts because of that this amount is mentioned.
Yeah, and as far as corporate is concerned, I'll request again Chand Saab if he would want to answer the question, please.
Can you please repeat on the corporate side?
So it was about the Q&Q growth again. How is it that after a degrowth in the first quarter, we had a fairly smart growth Q&Q?
So if you look at the corporate credit on a YOY, it is flat, but on a sequential, it is almost 6%. So there is a good momentum with regard to the growth in corporate credit. And now in Q3, at the start of the busy season, with a lot of pipeline cases we do have, we expect a substantial robust growth for this quarter, at least to the extent of the industry average.
Thank you. The next question is from Jay Mundra. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, hi, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. A couple of questions, sir. First, on this 600 crores additional provisioning over and above IRAC that we have done, does this pertain to accounts which are already NPA but standard due to court orders? I mean, would that pertain to those accounts or this is something else?
So I think Kunalji mentioned that these are accounts, or Ian I think mentioned that these are accounts which we believe are likely to slip. So in anticipation of the slippage, we have made provisions. They are not constrained by any court order. Well, Ian, would that be the correct position?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Understood. And this 600 provisioning would be, I mean, would cover what kind of a provisioning there? I mean, 30%, 25%, just to understand what could be the
It's at different stages. These are three diverse companies. In one case, it would be probably 100%. In other case, about 20%. So it really varies. It is a mixed bag.
Okay. And if you can specify the sector, sir, for these three groups where you are envisaging slippages going ahead?
No. These three companies. It's not just three loan accounts actually. So largely, 2 out of the 3 are power companies.
Okay. And which is, I think this power group or power companies has been technically NPA, but has been made standard because of the court order, right? Is the same?
No. It's not court orders. It is just showing a bit of stress in the banking sector, and hence it may slip is our prognosis.
Understood. And the second question, sir, is on slippages. So in your opening remarks, you mentioned that, the endeavor would be to around 2% kind of a slippages. And if I see the fresh slippages without taking into account the debits to existing NPA, this is around 10,000 crore for first half, which would translate to somewhere around 1.5% of loans. So how should one look at does this mean that the second half should be a very normal kind of a run rate, slippages, to have the 2% run rate?
So I think we can look at it in two contexts. One is that the figure is possibly closer to 9,000 crores, I think what we have seen in the first half of the year. And within that, there's a figure of 2,000 crores, which actually pertains to last year, right? Where we were making provisioning, but it was not classified as a slippage.
Right.
So I think the guidance that we have given of about 2% should still stand. At worst, you might say it is going to be adjusted for what was the slippage of last year. But we are broadly in line in terms of where things are. And you're right, we expect a better second half as compared to the first half. Understandably, because of the fact that the first half, particularly for MSME and retail, was ravaged by the second wave.
Right, understood. And just to clarify, in your slippages for first half, these are gross slippages for the quarter, right? We are not netting off inter-quarter.
No, these are gross slippages.
So net of pullbacks of the first quarter that we saw in the second quarter, the first quarter net slippage would be 3,374 crores.
Sorry, sir, I did not get this. So
this is gross slippages. The net slippages will be significantly lower. For instance, in the first quarter, the net slippage is not 5,000 something, it is 3,300. The net as compared to gross.
Right. No, I'm saying the slippages for this quarter, 5,200 crore. If you have recovered something from first quarter slippages, that is part of recovery and upgrade, right? Not it has been netted from this quarter slippages.
Absolutely.
No, it's not netted. Correct.
Sure. Great, sir. And the second thing, sir, on margins. So if I see, there was clearly some one-off in first quarter, and that is why the margins went up to 3% plus, which has now come back to 2.85. If you have this, if you can quantify that, what was the one-off in 1Q, so that the QOQ number does not look, haywire in that sense. I think there was some recovery or there was something else.
Yeah. So we'll give you the details. We'll give you the details in terms of both Q1 one-off and the Q2 one-off, which was the state account. And as I mentioned, if you would net off both, you would pretty much have a steady picture, but we'll give you the details just to again make sure that we get the arithmetic right.
Right. Sir.
On a normalized basis, our NIMs for both the Q1 and Q2 would be around little upwards of 3%. Domestic NIMs I'm talking about, it would be little upwards of 3%.
Okay. And last thing, sir, just to come back on restructuring. So it looks like that QOQ, there was very small restructuring on net basis. If you have the gross restructuring, during the quarter, because otherwise it looks like that, the net restructuring on outstanding basis is almost zero, right? Or maybe even negative, because or there was some inflow and there was some outflow. Maybe some lumpy account went out of restructured. Is that the case, or the gross restructuring itself was very small?
So Ian, you want to take that, or Karanjit?
Yes, sir. See, from June to September, there is a 1,400 crores addition in restructuring. There is no reduction in, big reduction. So this restructuring, this number is slow in second quarter. Whatever restructure has to happen, it has happened in Q1 or prior to that. Yeah.
The next question is from Sonal Kohli. Please go ahead and ask your question.
So the total restructured book which you gave of 20,500 crores, does that also include the MSME old restructured book?
Yes.
Yeah.
It includes the old MSME also.
And sir, as far as Air India is concerned, is it part of your restructured book or SMA1 or SMA2 or NPA?
No. They are not part of, but they are not part of restructuring as well as NPA.
But they would be part of your SMA2 numbers.
Yes.
Sir, can you quantify your exposure? Because, it'll help us delete that number from the SMA estimates,
Can we tell you that number offline?
Sure, sir. Sir, lastly, sir, if you can give some idea from your overall SMA1 or SMA2 book, whatever is feasible for you, and the improvement you have seen it from the June quarter, because the trends in, the smaller accounts and the large corporates may be very, very different. And, this will give us a good picture of, how the asset quality looks like.
So let me say that the trend that you see in the acrylic accounts in terms of the reduction in the SMAs is also reflected, if not exactly in the same measure, in substantial measure in the overall book.
Sir, but would it be fair to say that your, SMA 1 and 2 in below 5 crore account would be significantly higher than your, above 5 crore SMA?
I think now we are getting into specifics which may be beyond what, again, is part of our standard presentation, right? We can always discuss some things offline, but the improvement in the trend vis-a-vis the previous quarters extends beyond the acrylic account.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much. We'll discuss it after.
We will now take only the last two questions of the evening. The next question is from Aman Ilahi. Please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yeah, hi, sir. So again, on the corporate front, so we have already expressed your view that you're expecting growth to pick up from here. So just wanted to understand, where is this growth going to come from? So you mentioned some pipeline of brownfield expansion, etc. So are you expecting better utilization on the working capital front, or are you expecting better CapEx demand coming in the coming quarters? And again, just to set some context, would you also share what is the current working capital utilization there?
So I think it's pretty much what we discussed, that we should see working capital utilization levels start improving. We will give you the exact figures, right? That's, I think, what Ian can supply you. That's not an issue at all in terms of where we stand. As far as CapEx is concerned, we are seeing brownfield expansion, which tends to get reflected sooner in terms of growth. When you look at greenfield projects, even if you have sanctions now, it will take a few quarters for that to get reflected. And I think when it comes to the private investment cycle, given where capacity utilizations are, we still might be a few quarters away from really having a robust growth in terms of demand. So in the short to medium term, that's why we believe that the improvement in corporate credit will come from, again, the brownfield piece, and also the improvement in the utilization of working capital. In terms of what the current utilization levels are, we'll supply that to you.
Okay, thanks. That was useful. And the other one was, sir, we've seen around 4,000 crores of upgrades and recoveries during the quarter. So how much of this would be on account of some of these stressed accounts getting restructured?
Razak?
Sorry, in this quarter, there is no major upgradation due to restructuring. Whatever was there, it was in Q1.
Okay, got it. Thanks. That's it from my side.
The last question for the evening is from Kush Shah. We have fairly large SME restructured book. How is this performing, and how do we think of slippages from this? Were the corporate loans driven by short-term loans, and do we expect some of this to reverse? What are the yields on this book? Thank you.
So I think in terms of the MSME piece, I think it's unarguable that there is stress. There has been restructuring, and I think it is going to play out over the next few quarters. It's, I believe, too early to really have any very high degree of confidence in terms of predicting what the stress is going to be and how it will play out. But I think what is important, and this is what we have been emphasizing, is that if we were to look at the proportion of the book and the proportion of the corporate book, it is the improvement in the corporate trade cycle which will have the impact which will probably outweigh whatever negative impact is going to come from the MSME book, which is why, again, we have been guiding for the last few quarters that we expect credit costs to keep on trending downwards over the next few quarters. And we stand by that commentary. Now, in terms of the corporate book, I think the quality of the growth is fairly good. I don't think there's too much growth which might be volatile and therefore could get reversed. We expect steady growth going ahead. We are not saying spectacular growth because we would still like to keep discipline in terms of making sure that our margins remain intact. But we expect to see steady growth. But I'll again hand it back to Mr. Chand again to give more color on that.
Yes, this typically the corporate, as MD sir rightly said, we as a framework slightly more RAROC sensitive and also NIM sensitive. So saying so is that we believe in more capacity creation and sustainable loans rather than any short-term loans. So that's a bias, and that would continue.
Thank you, sir. So that was the last question. I now request our CFO, Sri Ian D'Souza, to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this call. It has been an immense pleasure addressing you. We've had a very good quarter and look forward to many more. And thank you for your support on an ongoing basis. Many of you have joined us in analyst calls in the past, and look forward to hearing from you. If there are any questions that remained unanswered in this call, please do feel free to reach out to me on my email ID. And thank you so much. Back to you.
That is a wrap for the evening. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.